Good afternoon to my flipped out students. Today we're going to be studying 5.4, which is dividing decimals. So please go to the table of contents and on the next line enter 5.4 dividing decimals. I believe it's page 24 and 25. No, wait a minute. It's either 24 and 25 or 25 and 26. I can't remember, and I left my sticky on my desk at work. So if you could just put it in the next two pages, and then you can divide your pages into 6 boxes, and then turn it back on. Okay, so today we're going to be dividing decimals. We're going to start by dividing a decimal by a whole number. So the very first thing you need to do when you're dividing decimals is you need to, after you write it out in the correct form, you need to place the decimal in the quotient first, so you don't forget that. Because if you leave your decimal out of your answer, it's going to be wrong, because 87.6 is a lot different than 876. So make sure you do that. So let's rewrite this. So the way I always remember to write division problems is I do it as I say it as I go. So 87.6 divided by, and I make my box when I say divided by 3. Okay, and then I'm going to put my decimal in the quotient up on top, right there, before I forget. Okay, so now I can just divide as normal. So 3 goes into 8 2 times. That's 6. Then we'll subtract. Then we have 27. 3 goes into 27 9 times evenly. So we have 27. And that is subtracted 0. We'll bring down the 6. So 3 goes into 6 2 times evenly. So our answer is 29.2. Okay, fairly straightforward there. All right, okay, we're going to try box number 2. Okay, so now we're going to do dividing a decimal by a decimal. So the very first thing you need to do when you have a decimal as the divisor, you need to make it a whole number. So please copy this down. The first sentence I have up there to right here. Please copy down. You must make the divisor a whole number first, or in other words, you need to move the decimal. Okay, and whatever you do to the divisor, you have to do to the dividend. So you're going to be moving that decimal as well. So let's do this one for example. So let me write out my problem. I have 15.12 divided by 0.84. Okay, so I need to move this decimal over 2 in order to make it a whole number. So I have to move this decimal over 2 as well, and then I'm going to put my decimal point up in the quotient. Please do that first when you're dividing, okay? And then you can just divide, then it's just a normal division problem, okay? So 84 goes into 151 one time. It's 84. And then we'll subtract and we get 67. We'll bring down the 2. We have 672. And very conveniently, 84 goes into 672 8 times. So 8 times 84 is 672. And we're left with 0. So our answer is just plain old 18. You do not need to have the decimal point in your answer if it comes at the end. You can just do an 18. Okay? All right, we're moving on to our next example. Okay, so we're going to do a word problem together. Every smoothie sold contains half a cup of raspberries. How many smoothies can be sold using 3¼ cup or 3.25 cups of raspberries. Okay, so we need to take 3.25 and divide it by 0.5. Okay, so we're going to write it out, 3.2, oh, sorry. Okay, sorry, I accidentally hit a button with my my wrist and everything went crazy. Okay, so 3.25 divided by 0.5. Okay, and so we're going to divide that. So the very first thing we need to do is we need to make 0.5 a whole number. So I'm going to move my decimal point over 1, and I'm going to move this decimal point over 1, and then I'm going to put the decimal right up here in the quotient up top, and then I can just divide. So 5 goes into 32 6 times, and it's 30. We subtract, we get a 2, bring down the 5. 5 goes into 25 5 times, and it's even. And so we stop there. So we can make 6½ smoothies with the amount of things we have. Okay? So how many smoothies can be sold? The answer would be 6, because you can't sell a half a smoothie. So the answer would be 6 smoothies. All right, let's move on. All right, let's do one more word problem together. Anthony spent $11.52 for some pens that were on sale for 72 cents each. How many pens did Anthony buy? Okay, so we're going to take 11.52. My stylus doesn't make decimals very well. And we're going to divide it by 72 cents. Okay, so I need to make the divisor, I need to make it a whole number, so I'm going to move the decimal over 2, and I'll move this one over 2, and I'll go straight up and put my decimal point up here. Okay, all right, so 72 goes into 115 just one time, so 72. We're going to subtract that, and we're going to get 43. Bring down the 2. We'll have 432. And very conveniently, 72 goes into 432 evenly 6 times. So 432. And there we go. And we are done. So how many pens did he buy? He bought 16 pens. All right, okay. Next example. All right, for this one, I'd like you to try it on your own in your box, and then turn the tape back on and see if you have the same answer that I have. Okay, I think you've seen a few examples, and I want you to start trying it on your own. Okay, all right, so pause it and then turn it back on when you're ready. Okay, so we have 78 and 74 hundredths. So 78 and 74 hundredths divided by 12 and 7/10. I should say it mathematically when I say it to you. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is move the decimal. Move the decimal, and then it goes straight up top here. All right, so 127 goes into 787 6 times. 6 times 127 is 762. When we subtract those, we get 25. We bring down our 4. 127 goes into 254, exactly 2 times. Excuse all the noise in the backyard. I don't know if you can hear that. My husband's raking. Okay, So the answer is 6.2. All right, let's try it one more. Okay, also on this one, I'd like you to try it on your own and then turn the tape back on when you think you have your answer. Okay, so we have 18 and 88 hundredths. And divided by 1.6. First thing we have to do is move the decimal over 1, move it over 1, and then I'm going to put the decimal point up top. All right, so 16 goes into 18 one time. Now don't make the mistake of going straight into 188 because that's where the decimal is. We can actually put 16 into 18, so don't make that mistake of going over too far. Okay? You can still, it'll still work out, but you'll be dealing with a bigger number, and it's much easier just to go into 18. Okay, so 16 goes into 18 one time. Bring down the 8. 16 goes into 28 one time. We'll subtract. We have 2 and 1 here. And then we'll bring down the 8. 16 goes into 128 6 times. We're left over 0, so the answer is 11.6. Okay. Hopefully you have a pretty good handle on this. The most important thing you have to do is when you're dividing by a decimal is to make that divisor a whole number. Move the decimal point there and then also move it in the dividend. And we'll do some more of these tomorrow in class. See you then.